What if the reason you're not happy has nothing to do with what you have, and everything to do with whether you're structurally capable of holding happiness? Let me explain what I mean by structurally. Think about pouring water into a bowl versus pouring it onto broken ceramic shards. Same water, same amount, but one accumulates into something, the other just runs off. This is the difference between a coherent mind and a fragmented one. Here's the uncomfortable truth that decades of happiness research keep pointing to. Beyond a basic threshold of security, your external circumstances, wealth, status, achievement, account for shockingly little of your actual well-being. So, what does account for it? The resonance model makes a wild claim. Happiness isn't something you have, it's something you resonate. And resonance requires a very specific structural condition, one that many highly successful people completely lack. The key insight comes from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's flow research, but reinterpreted. Flow isn't just being in the zone. Flow is what it feels like when, for a brief moment, all the different parts of you are pointing in the same direction. Most of the time, we're not unified. Part of you wants intimacy, part of you wants control, part of you feels grandiose, part of you feels worthless, part of you commits to things, part of you sabotages them. You're not one person, you're a committee that rarely agrees. The framework calls this fragmentation and identifies 5 specific ways it breaks down: motivational, competing drives; affective, emotional whiplash; relational, can't maintain consistent intimacy; temporal, no continuous sense of self over time; and somatic, body in constant dysregulation. Here's where it gets dark. A fragmented mind cannot produce resonance, the standing wave of well-being that compounds over time. But it can produce intensity, brief spikes that feel like being alive. And intensity is addictive. This explains something psychology has struggled with for decades. Why do some extraordinarily successful people seem so profoundly miserable? Because the very drive that makes them successful, the relentless need for the next thing, is often the behavioral signature of underlying fragmentation. Think about it. When you can't hold contentment because your vessel is cracked, you learn to chase spikes instead. Each acquisition, achievement, or conquest gives you a brief hit, then it drains away. So, you need a bigger hit, then a bigger one. The fragmented mind keeps thinking, maybe the next company will do it. Maybe the next relationship will do it. Maybe the next ambitious project will finally make me feel okay. But you're trying to fill a shattered bowl? More water doesn't help. The resonance model reinterprets even anxiety and boredom. Anxiety. Your mind fracturing under demands, different parts pulling against each other. Boredom. Unused parts of you seeking independent stimulation. Both are the felt quality of coming apart. Now, here's the truly elegant and tragic part. Csikszentmihalyi discovered that flow doesn't just feel good. It builds the self. Each flow experience slightly increases your coherence, making deeper flow more accessible. It's a virtuous cycle, if you can access it. But here's the vicious cycle: fragmentation. Can't access flow, chase intensity instead. Deepens fragmentation. Even less flow access. The compensatory strategies, acquisition, control, novelty seeking, bypass the very mechanism that could heal you. The framework makes a specific, testable prediction. No amount of external success can resolve internal fragmentation, because the problem isn't insufficient input, it's the architecture of the vessel itself. This explains why you can win by every external metric, wealth, power, status, achievement, and still feel empty. You're not failing to accumulate enough good things. You're experiencing the inherent instability of a system that cannot hold what it receives. The temporal dimension is the deepest cut. To feel that your life is going well, you need to experience yourself as continuous across time. The you of yesterday, today, and tomorrow must be recognizably the same person, pursuing the same project of living. A fragmented mind lacks this continuity. Each mood state is effectively a different person with different values. You oscillate, you contradict yourself. You damage relationships in one state and can't account for it in another. You live in an eternal, flickering present. And here's why that matters for happiness. If there's no continuous you across time, there's no one to accumulate the sense of a life well lived. Each moment starts over. Nothing compounds. So what's the way out? The model suggests it's not through more achievement, more control, or more intensity. It's through the patient, repeated practice of unified engagement, finding challenges calibrated to your actual capacities and bringing your whole self to them. In other words, regular access to genuine flow. Not the fake flow of frenetic multitasking, not the pseudo flow of compulsive productivity, but the real thing, where attention, emotion, action, and meaning converge completely, because each genuine flow experience slightly repairs the vessel, makes you a bit more integrated, increases your capacity for the next flow experience. Over time, this builds a self that doesn't just achieve things, but can actually enjoy having achieved them. The cruelest insight of the resonance model? The qualities that make some people extraordinarily capable, relentless drive, chaos tolerance, rapid mode switching, are often the surface behavior of deep fragmentation. The fragmentation produces the drive, but the drive can't heal the fragmentation. You're not running toward happiness and falling short. You're running in the structurally opposite direction, at extraordinary speed, with extraordinary capability, with no possibility of arriving. Because happiness requires the very stillness and integration the fragmentation is organized to prevent. One more thing that makes this framework powerful. It reframes mental health, not as the absence of symptoms, but as a specific structural property, coherence. And it explains why you can be high-functioning and deeply unwell at the same time. Because a fragmented system can still be extremely productive. It just can't be happy. It's like a cracked bell that still makes sound, sometimes very loud sound, but never rings true. So here's the uncomfortable question to sit with. Are you building your life in a way that increases your coherence? Or are you just getting better at managing your fragmentation? Because one of those paths compounds toward well-being, the other just compounds toward exhaustion.